Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji. I am here to present once again one divine journey with all of you, which is related to Guruji's recommended book. It's called Autobiography of a Yogi. As we had seen in the previous chapters, so we did understand why Guruji recommended this book as one of his favorite books, and why he told all the Sangat that you should go through it, along with a few other books, of course. And in this divine journey today, I'm going to walk you through two of the most important chapters of this book, which are really interesting, and you can relate it as Sangat that Guruji also used to do similar feats, and he used to make sure that he didn't make us realize that he is Mahashiv when he was in Chola. And there are innumerable number of satsangs which actually could define and establish this. So in this journey, I would like to start by Guruji's mantra jap, which is Om Namah Shivaya Shivji Sada Sahai, Om Namah Shivaya Guruji Sada Sahai. So having said that, as I have already reiterated earlier, whichever version of the book is preferable to you, be it English, be it Hindi में हम लोग इसको योगी कथामृत बोलते हैं, and you can choose that as per your convenience. But if your inner calling is there to read this book, and if your inner calling is there that I want to know why Guruji told me to read this book, then just pick it up. It's just you who is the hindrance. Just pick it up and start reading it slowly, and that is the key to it. And this book, when I started reading it, it wasn't the first time I didn't get it, but when I started reading it for the second time, I got parts of it. But the third reading of it made me ensure that I actually understood why it was happening. So along with this book, I was also reading a lot of satsangs which were from Guruji time Sangat, and then I was able to correlate a lot of things which made me understand this book in an easier way. So Shukrana Guruji, Shukrana Mere Malik. So having said that, chapter number 5, a perfume saint displays his wonders. In this book, we are going to, in this chapter, we are going to read about a Swami who is called Gandha Swami, and how he used to have miraculous fragrances, and how Yogananda ji went there, and what were his observations, and what did we learn from it. We are going to go through this now. So, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. I did not have this wisdom of Solomon to comfort me. I gazed searchingly about me on any exclusion from home for the face of my destined Guru. But my path did not cross his own until after the completion of my high school studies. 2 years elapsed between my flight with Amar toward the Himalayas and the great day of Sri Yukteswar's arrival into my life. During that interim, I met a number of sages, the perfume saint, the tiger Swami, Nagendranath Bhaduri, Master Mahashaya, and the famous Bengali scientist Jagdish Chandra Bose. My encounter with the perfume saint had two permeables, one harmonious and the other humorous. God is simple, everything else is complex. Do not seek absolute values in the relative world of nature. These philosophical finalities gently entered my ear as I stood silently before a temple image of Kali. Turning, I confronted a tall man whose garb, or lack of it, revealed him a wandering sadhu. You have indeed penetrated the bewilderment of my thoughts. I smiled gratefully. The confusion of benign and terrible aspects in nature, as symbolized by Kali, has puzzled wiser heads than mine. Few there be who solve her mystery. Good and evil is the challenging riddle which life places pink slides before every intelligence. Attempting no solution, most men pay forfeit with their lives and penalty now, even as in the days of Thebes. Here and there, a towering lonely figure never cries defeat. From the maya of duality, he plucks the cleaveless of truth of unity. You speak with conviction, sure. I have long exercised an honest introspection, the exquisitely painful approach to wisdom, Self scrutiny, relentless observance of one's thoughts, is a stark and shattering experience. It pulverizes the stoutest ego, but true self analysis mathematically operates to produce shares. The way of self expression, individual acknowledgments, results in egotists, sure of the right to their private interpretations of God and the universe. Truth humbly retires, no doubt. Before such arrogant originality, I was enjoying the discussion. Man was Man can understand no eternal verity until he has freed himself from pretensions. The human mind, bared to a centuried slime, is teeming with repulsive life of countless world delusions. Struggles of the battlefields pale into insignificance here when man first contends with inward enemies. No mortal foes these, to be overcome by harrowing array of might. Omnipresent, unresting, pursuing man even in sleep, subtly equipped with a miasmic weapon, these shoulders of ignorant lust seek to slay us all. Thoughtless is the man who buries his ideals, surrendering to the common fate. Can he seem other than impotent, wooden, ignominious? Respected sir, have you no sympathy for the bewildered masses? The sage was silent for a moment, then answered obliquely. To love both the invisible God, repository of all virtues, and visible man, apparently possessed of none, is often baffling. But ingenuity is equal to the maze. Inner research soon exposes a unity in all human minds, a stalwart kingship of selfless motive. In one sense, at least, the brotherhood of man stands revealed. An aghast humility follows this leveling discovery. It ripens into compassion for one's fellows, blind to the healing potencies of the soul awaiting exploration. The saints of every age, sir, have felt like yourself for the sorrows of the world. Only the shallow man loses responsiveness to the woes of others' life as he sinks into narrow suffering of his own. The sadhu's austere face was noticeably softened. The one who practices a scalpel self-dissection will know an expansion of universal pity. Release is given um, Release is given him from the deafening demands of his ego. The love of God flowers on such soil. The creature finally turns to his Creator, if no other reason than to ask in anguish, why, Lord, why? By ignoble whips of pain, man is driven at last into the infinite presence, whose beauty alone should lure him. The sage and I were present in Calcutta's Kalighat temple, whither I had gone to view its famed magnificence. With a weeping gesture, my chance companion dismissed the ornate dignity. Bricks and mortar sing us no audible tune. The heart opens only to the human chant of being. We strolled to the inviting sunshine at the entrance, where throngs of devotees were passing to and fro. You are young, the sage surveyed me thoughtfully. India too is young. The ancient rishis laid down ineradicable patterns of spiritual living. Their hoary dictums suffice for this day and land, not outmoded, not unsophisticated, against the guiles of materialism. The disciplinary precepts mold India still. By millenniums, more than embarrassed scholars take to compute. The skeptic time has validated Vedic worth. Take it for your heritage. As I was reverently bidding farewell to the eloquent sadhu, he revealed a clairvoyant perception. After you leave here today, an unusual experience will come your way. I quitted the temple precincts and wandered along aimlessly. Turning a corner, I ran into an old acquaintance, one of those long-winded fellows whose conversational powers ignore time and embrace eternity. I will let you go in a very short while if you tell me all that has happened during the 6 years of our separation. What a paradox! I must leave now. I must leave you now. But he held me by the hand, forcing out tidbits of information. He was like a ravenous wolf, I thought in amusement. The longer I spoke, the more hungrily he sniffed for news. Inwardly, I petitioned the goddess Kali to devise a graceful means of escape. My companion left me abruptly. I sighed with relief and doubled my pace, dreading my relapse into the garrulous fever. Hearing rapid footsteps behind me, I quickened my speed. I dared not look back, but with a bound, the youth rejoined me jovially, clasping my shoulder. I forgot to tell you of Gandha Baba, meaning perfume saint, okay, who is gracing Wander house. He pointed to a dwelling a few yards distant. Do meet him, okay. He is interesting. You may have an unusual experience. Goodbye. And he actually left me. Okay. The similarity worded prediction of the sadhu at the Kalighat temple flashed on to my mind. Definitely intrigued, I entered the house and was ushered into a commodious parlor. A crowd of people were sitting, orient-wise here and there on a thick orange color carpet. An odd whisper reached my ear. Behold Gandha Baba on the leopard skin. He can give the natural perfume of any flower to a scentless one, or revive a wilted blossom, or make a person's skin exude delightful fragrance. I looked directly at the saint. His quick gaze rested on mine. He was plump and bearded, with dark skin and large gleaming eyes. Son, I am glad to see you. Say what you want. Would you like some perfume? What for? I thought his remark rather childish. To experience the miraculous ways of enjoying perfumes. Harnessing God to make odors? What of it? God makes perfume anyway. Yes, but he fashions frail bottles of petals for fresh use and discard. Can you materialize flowers? I materialize perfumes, my little friend. Then scent factories will go out of business. As I had told that this is a humorous book as well. There is no seriously involved here that we need to be so much into this. There are some funny parts of it which make this journey really jovial. I will permit them to keep their trade. My own purpose is to demonstrate the power of God. So, sir, is it necessary to prove God? Isn't He performing miracles in everything, everywhere? Yes, but we too should manifest some of His infinite creative variety. How long did it take to master your art? Then, Baba is replying 12 years. Okay, for manufacturing scents by astral means. It seems, my honored saint, you have been wasting a dozen years for fragrances which you can obtain with a few rupees from a florist shop. Perfumes fade with flowers. Perfumes fade with death. Why should I desire that which pleases the body only? Mr. Philosopher, you please my mind. Now stretch forth your right hand. He made a gesture of blessing. I was a few feet away from Gandha Baba. No one else was near enough to contact my body. I extended my hand, which the yogi did not touch. What perfume do you want? Then Yogananda ji replies, Rose. Be it so. To my great surprise, the charming fragrance of rose was wafted strongly from the center of my palm. I smilingly took a large white scentless flower from a nearby vase. Can this odorless blossom be permeated with jasmine? Then, Gandha Baba is replying, be it so. A jasmine fragrance instantly shot from the petals. I thanked the wonder worker and seated myself by one of his students. He informed me that Gandha Baba, whose proper name was Vishuddhananda, okay, had learned many astonishing yoga secrets from a master in Tibet. The Tibetan yogi, I was assured, had attained the age of over 1,000 years. His disciple Gandha Baba does not always perform his perfume feats in the simple verbal manner you have just witnessed. The student spoke with obvious pride in his master. His procedure differs widely to accord with diversity in temperaments. He is marvelous. Many members of Calcutta intelligentsia are among his followers. I inwardly resolved not to add myself to their number. A guru too literally marvelous was not to my liking. With polite thanks to Gandha Baba, I departed. Sauntering home, I reflected on the three varied encounters the day had brought forth. My sister Uma met me as I entered our road door. You are getting quite stylish using perfumes. Without a word, I motioned her to smell my hand. What an attractive rose fragrance! It is unusually strong. Thinking it was strong unusual, I silently placed the astrally scented blossom under her nostrils. Oh, I love jasmine. She seized the flower. A ludicrous bafflement passed over her face as she repeatedly sniffed the odor of jasmine from a type of flower she well knew to be scentless. Her reaction disarmed any suspicion that Gandha Baba had induced an auto-suggestive state whereby I alone could detect the fragrances. Later, I heard from a friend, Alakananda, that the perfume scent had a power which I wish were possessed by the starving millions of Asia and today of Europe as well. I was present with 100 other guests at Gandha Baba's home in Burdwan, Alakananda said. It was a gala occasion because the yogi was reputed to have the power of extracting objects out of thin air. I laughingly requested him to materialize some out of seasoned tangerines. Immediately, the luchis, which were present on all the banana leaf plates, became puffed up. Each of the bread envelopes proved to contain a peeled tangerine. I bit into my own with some trepidation, but found it delicious. Years later, I understood by inner realization how Gandha Baba accomplished his materializations. The method, alas, is beyond the reach of the world hungry hordes. The different sensory stimuli to which man reacts, tactile, visual, gustatory, auditory, and olfactory, are produced by vibrations in electrons and protons. The vibrations in turn are regulated by lifetrons. Subtle life forces are finer than atomic energies, intelligently charged with the five distinctive sensory idea substances. Very powerful, yeah. Gandha Baba, tuning himself with the cosmic force by certain yogic practices, was able to guide the lifetrons to rearrange their vibratory structure and objectivize the desired result. His perfume, fruit, and other miracles were actual materializations of mundane vibrations and not inner sensations hypnotically produced. Performances of miracles such as shown by the perfume saint are spectacular but spiritually useless. Having little purpose beyond entertainment, they are digressions from a serious search for God. Hypnotism has been used by physicians in minor operations as a sort of physical chloroform for persons who might be endangered by an anesthetic. But a hypnotic state is harmful to those who often subjected to it. A negative psychological effect ensues, which in time deranges the brain cells. Hypnotism is trespass into the territory of another consciousness. Its temporary phenomena have nothing in common with the miracles performed by men of divine realization. Awake in God, true saints effect changes in the dream world by means of a will harmoniously attuned to the creative cosmic dreamer. Ostentatious display of unusual powers are decreed by masters. The Persian mystic Abu Sa'id once said, at certain fakirs who were proud of their miraculous powers over water, air, and space. A frog is also at home in the water, Abu Sa'id pointed out, in gentle scorn. The crow and the vulture easily fly in the air. The devil is simultaneously present in the east and in the west. A true man is he who dwells in righteousness among his fellow men, who buys and sells, yet is never for a single instant forgetful of God. On another occasion, the great Persian teacher gave his views on the religious life thus: to lay aside what you have in your head, selfish desires and ambitions, and to freely bestow what you have in your hand, and never to flinch from the blows of adversity. Neither the impartial sage at Kalighat temple nor the Tibetan trained yogi Gandha Baba had satisfied my yearning for a guru. My heart needed no tutor for his recognitions and cried its own bravos, the more resoundingly because unoften summoned from silence. When I finally met my master, he taught my sublimity of example alone the measure of a true man. So here in this is the end of the chapter number 5, which is Perfume Saint displays his wonders. What we learned from this chapter is that there is something called outer gain and then there is something called inner gain. And in this chapter, what Yogananda ji tried to summarize it for us is that despite his experiences that he was able to get through, smell fragrances like jasmine, like rose and all, and which was later confirmed by his sister Uma. It is very much obvious that we need to search for our God within ourselves. And as Guruji always said to us that मैं आपके साथ हूँ, मैं आपके अंदर हूँ, मैं आपके अंग संग हूँ. So it is important that we do connect with our inner soul to find clarity, to find answers. Okay. Having said that, I'd also like to say that Guruji's magical fragrance surrounds us as and when he pleases to do, and it is so obvious that that fragrance cannot be replicated, cannot be found in any perfume. It is so divine, and it is so fulfilling that Guruji makes sure that we are all his children. So please keep continuing this divine journey with me as I continue into another very interesting chapter, which is called the Tiger Swami. Tiger Swami is basically chapter number 6 of this book, which I will just show it on here, which is Autobiography of a Yogi. Okay. Now, let's start. Okay. I have discovered the Tiger Swami's address. Let us visit him tomorrow. This welcome suggestion came from Chandi, one of my high school friends. I was eager to meet the saint who in his pre-monastic life had caught and fought tigers with his naked hands. A boyish enthusiasm over such remarkable feats was strong within me. So here in this chapter, we are going to learn something about that mind over matter, and what happened when you are physically strong, but at the same time, if you need to work upon your internal strengths to connect with your Guru, to connect with God Himself, then what do you need to enable yourself with? This chapter is all about a living example of a Swami who fought a tiger, and then what is his journey, what do we learn from this chapter. Okay, so we'll continue here. The next day dawned a wintry cold, but Chandi and I sallied forth gaily. After much vain hunting in Bhawanipur outside Calcutta, we arrived at the right house. The door held 2 iron rings, which I sounded piercingly. Notwithstandingly the clamour, a servant approached with leisurely gait. His ironical smile implied that visitors, despite their noise, were powerless to disturb the calmness of the saint's home. Feeling this silent rebuke, my companion and I were thankful to be invited into the parlour. Our long wait there caused uncomfortable misgivings. India's unwritten law for the truth seeker is patience. A master may purposefully make a test of one's eagerness to meet him. This psychological ruse is freely employed in the West by doctors and dentists. Finally summoned by the servant, Chandi and I entered a sleeping apartment. The famous Sohong Swami, that's the name of our Tiger Swami, his name was Sohong Swami, was seated on his bed. The sight of his tremendous body affected us strangely. With bulging eyes, we stood speechless. We had never before seen such a chest or such football-like biceps. And on an immense neck, the Swami's fierce yet calm face was adorned with flowing locks, beard and moustache. A hint of dove-like and tiger-like qualities shone in his dark eyes. He was unclothed, save for a tiger skin about his muscular waist. So, the Swami was really huge, and he had a huge body. That's what has been mentioned here. Finding our voices, my friend and I greeted the monk, expressing our admiration for his prowess in the extraordinary feline arena. Will you not tell us, please, how is it possible to subdue with bare fist the most ferocious of jungle beasts, the Royal Bengals? My sons, it is nothing to me to fight tigers. I could do it today if necessary. He gave a childlike laugh. You look upon tigers as tigers. I know them as pussycats. Swamiji, I think I could impress my subconsciousness with the thought that tigers are pussycats. But could I make tiger believe it? Of course, strength also is necessary, One cannot expect victory from a baby who imagines tiger to be a house cat. Powerful hands are my sufficient weapon. He asked us to follow him to the patio, where he struck the edge of the wall. A brick crashed to the floor. The sky peered boldly through the gaping lost tooth of the wall. I fairly staggered in astonishment. He who can remove mortared bricks from a solid wall with one blow, I thought must surely be able to displace the teeth of tigers. A number of men have physical power such as mine, but still lack in cool confidence. Those who are bodily but not mentally stalwart may find themselves fainting at mere sight of a wild beast bounding freely in the jungle. The tiger, in its natural ferocity and habitat, is vastly different from from the opium-fed circus animal. Many a man with Herculean strength have nonetheless been terrorized into abject helplessness before the onslaught of a royal Bengal. Thus, the tiger has converted the man in his own mind to a state as nerveless as the pussycats. It is impossible for a man owning a fairly strong body and an immensely strong determination to turn the tables on the tiger and force it to a conviction of pussycat defenseless. How often I have done that? I have done just that. I was quite willingly to believe that the Titan before me was able to perform the tiger pussycat metamorphosis. He seemed in a didactic mood. Chandi and I listened respectfully. So now he will explain what was the event all about, and this is a very interesting and encompassing story that we are going to go through now. Mind is the wielder. Mind is the wielder of muscles. The force of a hammer blow depends on the energy applied. The power expressed by a man's bodily instrument depends on his aggressive will and courage. The pressure of instincts from past life, strengths, or weaknesses percolate gradually into human consciousness. They express as habits, which in turn ossify into a desirable or an undesirable body. Outward frailty has mental origin in a vicious circle. The habit bound body thwarts the mind. If the master allows himself to be commanded by a servant, the latter becomes autocratic. The mind is similarly enslaved by submitting to bodily dictation. At our entreaty, the impressive Swami consented to tell us something of his own life. My earliest ambition was to fight tigers. My will was mighty, but my body was feeble. An ejaculation of surprise broke from me. It appeared incredible that this man, now with Atlantean shoulders, fit into fit to bear, could ever have known weakness. It was by indomitable persistency in thought of will and in thought of health and strength that I overcame my handicap. I have every reason to extol the compelling mental vigor which I found to be the real subduer of Royal Bengals. Do you think, revered Swami, that I could ever fight tigers? This was the first and the last time that the bizarre ambition ever visited my mind. Yes, he said. He was smiling. But there are many kinds of tigers. Some roam in the jungles of human desires. No spiritual benefit accrues by knocking beast unconscious, rather to be victor over the inner prowlers. This is really powerful. How do we conquer the inner tigers that are inside us? How do we make sure that we get rid of anger, get rid of lust, get rid of greed, get rid of ego, and how do we conquer them so that we become a better sangat, so that we walk in Guruji's path? These are really depicted very strongly in this book. May we hear, sir, how you changed from a tamer of wild tigers to a tamer of wild passions? The tiger Swami fell into silence. Remoteness came into his gaze, summoning the visions of bygone years. Okay. I discerned his slight mental struggle to decide whether to grant my request. Finally, he smiled in acquiescence. When my fame reached a zenith, it brought the intoxication of pride. I decided not only to fight tigers but to display them in various tricks. My ambition was to force savage beasts to behave like domesticated ones. I began to perform my feats publicly with gratifying success. One evening, My father entered. My father entered my room in a pensive mood. Son, I have words of warning. It would save you from coming ills produced by the grinding wheels of cause and effect. Are you a fatalist, father? Should superstition be allowed to discolor the powerful waters or my activities? I am no fatalist son, but I believe in the just law of retribution, as taught in the Holy Scriptures. There is resentment against you in the jungle family. Sometime it may act to your cost. Father, you astonish me. You well know what tigers are, beautiful but merciless. Even immediately after an enormous meal of some hapless creature, a tiger is fired with fresh lust at sight of a new prey. It may be a joyous gazelle frisking over jungle grass, capturing it and biting and opening in the soft throat. The malevolent beast tastes only a little of the mutely crying blood and goes its wanton way. Tigers are the most contemptible of the jungle breed. Who knows? My blows may inject some slight sanity of consideration into their thick heads. I am headmaster in a forest finishing school, so to teach them gentle manners. Please, Father, think of me as a tiger tamer and never as a tiger killer. How could my good actions bring ill upon me? I beg you not to impose any command that will change my way of life. Chandi and I were all attention and understanding the past dilemma. In India, a child does not lightly disobey his parents' wishes. In stoic silence, father listened to my explanation. He followed it with a disclosure which he uttered gravely. Son, you compel me to relate an ominous prediction from the lips of a saint. He approached me yesterday as I sat on the veranda in my daily meditation. Dear friend, I come with a message for your bewildered son. Let him cease his savage activities, otherwise his next tiger encounter shall result in severe wounds. Although followed by 6 months of deathly sickness, he shall then forsake his former ways and become a monk. This tale did not impress me. I considered that father had been the credulous victim of a deluded fanatic. The tiger Swami made his confession with an impatient gesture, as though at some stupidity. Grimly silent for a long time, he seemed oblivious of our presence. When he took up the dangling thread of his narrative, it was suddenly with subdued voice. Not long after father's warning, I visited the capital city of Cooch Behar. The picturesque territory was new to me and I expected a restful change. As usual, everywhere a curious crowd followed me on the streets. I would catch bits of whispered comment. This is a man who fights wild tigers. Has he legs or tree trunks? Look at his face. He must be an incarnation of the king of tigers himself. You know how village urchins function like final editions of a newspaper? With that speed do the even latter speech bulletins of the women circulate from house to house. Within a few hours, the whole city was in a state of excitement over my presence. I was relaxing quietly in the evening when I heard the hoofbeats of galloping horses. They stopped in front of my dwelling place. In came a number of tall, turbaned policemen. I was taken aback. All things are possible unto these creatures of human law, I thought. I wonder if they were going to take me to task about masters utterly known to me, but the officers bowed with unwonted courtesy. Honored sir, we are sent to welcome you on behalf of the Prince of Cooch Behar. He is pleased to invite you to his palace tomorrow morning. I speculated a while on the prospect. For some obscure reason, I felt sharp regret at this interruption in my quiet trip. But the suppliant manner of the policeman moved me. I agreed to go. I was bewildered the next day to be obsequiously escorted from my door into a magnificent coach drawn by 4 horses. A servant held an ornate umbrella to protect me from the scorching sunlight. I enjoyed the pleasant ride through the city and its woodland outskirts. The royal scion himself was at the palace door to welcome me. He proffered his own gold brocaded seat, smilingly placing himself in a chair of simpler design. All his politeness is certainly going to cost me something, I thought in mounting astonishment. The prince's motive emerged after a few casual remarks. My city is filled with the rumor that you can fight wild tigers with nothing more than your naked hands. Is that a fact? It is quite true. I can scarcely believe it. You are a Calcutta Bengali, nurtured on the rice of city folk, nurtured on the white rice of city folk. Be frank, please. Have you not been fighting only spineless opium fed animals? His voice was loud and sarcastic, tinged with provincial accent. I vouchsafed no reply to his insulting question. I challenge you to fight my newly caught tiger, Raja Begum. So, this is the name of a Royal Bengal tiger who was appointed for this fight, which we are going to go through in the next few pages. If you can successfully resist him, bind him with a chain, and leave his cage in a conscious state, you shall have this Royal Bengal. Several thousand rupees and many other gifts shall also be bestowed. If you refuse to meet him in combat, I shall blazon your name throughout the state as an impostor. His insolent words struck me like a volley of bullets. I shot an angry acceptance. Half risen from the chair in his excitement, the prince sank back with a sadistic smile. I was reminded of the Roman emperors who delighted in setting Christians in bestial arenas. The match will be set for a week hence. I regret that I cannot give you permission to view the tiger in advance. Whether the prince feared I might seek to hypnotize the beast or secretly feed him opium, I know not. Okay. I left the place, noting with amusement that the royal umbrella and panoplied coach were now missing. Okay. The following week, I methodologically prepared my mind and body for the coming ordeal. Through my servant, I learned of fantastic tales. The saint's direful prediction to my father had somehow got abroad, enlarging as it ran. Many simple villagers believed that an evil spirit cursed by the gods had reincarnated as a tiger which took various demoniac forms at night but remained a stripped animal during the day. This demon tiger was supposed to be the one sent to humble me. Another imaginative version was that animal prayers to tiger heaven had achieved a response in the shape of Raja Begum. So, who is the name, which is the Royal Bengal tiger we are talking about. He was to be the instrument to punish me, the audacious bite, so it's insulting to the entire tiger species. A furless, fangless man daring to challenge a clawed animal, sturdy limbed tiger. The concentrated venom of all humiliated tigers, the villages declared, had gathered momentum sufficient to operate hidden laws and to bring about the fall of the proud tiger tamer. Okay. My servant further apprised me that the prince was in his element as manager of the bout between man and beast. He had supervised the erection of a storm-proof pavilion designed to accommodate thousands. Its center held Raja Begum in an enormous iron cage surrounded by an outer safety room. The captive emitted a ceaseless series of blood curdling roars. He was fed sparingly to kindle a wrathful appetite. Perhaps the prince expected me to be the meal of reward. Crowds from the city and suburbs bought tickets eagerly in response to the beat of drums announcing the unique contest. The day of battle saw hundreds turn away for lack of seats. Many men broke through the tent openings or crowded any space below the galleries. As Tiger Swami's story approached a climax, my excitement mounted with it. Chandi was also raptly mute. Amidst piercing sound explosions from Raja Begum and the hubbub of the somewhat terrified crowd, I quietly made my appearance. Scantily clad around the waist, I was otherwise unprotected by clothing. I opened the bolt of the door of the safety room and calmly looked it behind me. The tiger sensed blood. Leaping with a thunderous crash on his bars, he sent powerful fearsome welcome. The audience was hushed with pitiful fear. I seemed a meek lamb before the raging beast. So this book is also about eloquent literature, how deeply, as you read this book slowly, you will realize that you are actually transcended into this place. You start imagining that these are not just stories and fables, these are actually written with such simple ways and language, that you are transformed into that place itself. Okay. In it Rice, I was within the cage, but as I slammed the door, Raja Begum was headlong upon me. My right hand was desperately torn. Human blood, the greatest treat a tiger can know, fell in appalling streams. The prophecy of the saint seemed about to be fulfilled. I rallied instantly from the shock of the first serious injury I had ever received, banishing the sight of my gory fingers by thrusting them beneath my waistcloth. I swung my left arm in a bone cracking blow. The beast reeled back, swirled around the rear of the cage, and sprang back convulsively. My famous fistic punishment rained on his head. But Raja Begum's taste of blood had acted like the maddening first sip of wine to be dipsomaniac long retrieved. Punctuated by the deafening roar, the brute assaults grew in fury. My inadequate defense of only hand left me vulnerable before claws and fangs, but I dealt out dazing retribution. Mutually ensanguined, we struggled as to the death. The case was pandemonium, as blood splashed in all directions, and blast of pain and lethal lust came from the bestial throat. Shoot him! Kill the tiger! Shrieks rose from the audience. So fast did man and beast move that a guard's bullet went amiss. I mustered all the will force, bellowed fiercely, and landed a final conclusive blow. The tiger collapsed and lay quietly. Like a pussycat, I interjected. The Swami laughed in hearty appreciation, then continued. The engrossing tale. Okay. Raja Begum was vanquished at last. His royal pride was further humbled with my lacerated hands. I audaciously forced open his jaws. For a dramatic moment, I held my head within the yawning death trap. I looked around for a chain, pulling one from a pile on the floor. I bound the tiger by his neck to the cage bars. In triumph, I moved toward the door. But that feigned incarnate Raja Begum had stamina worthy of his supposedly demoniac origin. With an incredible lunge, he snapped the chain and leaped on my back. My shoulder fast in his jaws. I felt violently, but in a trice I had him pinned beneath me. Under merciless blows, the treacherous animal sank into semi-consciousness. This time I secured him more carefully. Slowly I left the cage. I found myself in a new uproar, this time one of delight. The crowd's cheer broke as though from a single gigantic throat. Disastrously mourned, I had yet fulfilled the three conditions of the fight: stunning the tiger, binding him with a chain, and leaving him without requiring assistance for myself. In addition, I had so drastically injured and frightened the aggressive beast that he had been content to overlook the opportune prize of my head in his mouth. After my wounds were treated, I was honored and garlanded. Hundreds of gold pieces showered at my feet. The whole city entered a holiday period. Endless discussions were heard on all sides about my victory over one of the largest and most savage tigers ever seen. Raja Begum was presented to me as promised, but I felt no elation. A spiritual change had entered my heart. This is most important. It seemed that with my final exit from the cage, I had also closed the door on my worldly ambitions. Guruji exactly used to say this. Outward show off, gale and gaiety and glamour has nothing when we are with Guruji's Sangat. In his Kamal Charan Swarup, when we are actually, immerse ourselves, we truly imbibe humility and simplicity. It's not just within the satsang, it's outside of it as well. How to become a true human being, how to become a true Sangat. These are these examples and stories are clear revelation of that. So a woeful period followed. For 6 months, I lay near death from blood poisoning. As soon as I was well enough to leave Kuch Bihar, I returned to my native town. I know how my teacher is the holy man who gave the wise warning. I humbly made that this confession to my father. Oh, if I could only find him! My longing was sincere, for one day the saint arrived unheralded. Enough of tiger taming. He spoke with calm assurance. Come with me, I will teach you to subdue the beast of ignorance roaming in jungles of the human mind. You are used to an audience. Let it be a galaxy of angels, entertained by your thrilling mastery of yoga. I was initiated into a spiritual path by my saintly Guru. He opened my soul doors, rusty and resistant with long disuse. Hand in hand, we were soon set out on my training in the Himalayas. Chandi and I bowed at the Swami's feet, grateful for his vivid outline of a life truly cyclonic. I felt aptly repaid for the long probationary wait in the cold parlor. So this ends the chapter number 6, which is basically about the tiger Swami. And here, as you can see, that the essence of the story is basically told in a simplistic way, that we are supposed to tame our inner tigers and not believe in worldly ambitions and show off. And when we truly connect with our Guru, like Soham Swami or Tiger Swami, the way he when he won the battle, and then he got blood poisoning, and then he started his self-realization, when his Guru told him that, what is this tigers that you're trying to capture. You're trying to win them, and you're trying to give them merciless blows. Why do you need to do that? Why don't you conquer your own inner tigers and be in the society of angels, be in a galaxy where the spiritual world has got bigger things to conquer? And these two stories indeed tell us that that the search for your Guru starts and begins when you are with your beloved Guruji. And these stories do teach us a perspective that we too can look at things in a much simpler way. There is no need to find logic and reasoning into everything. Okay. And when you are with your Guruji, self introspection and through Simran, that means when you connect to your Guruji with silent introspection, when you try to imagine his magnanimity by saying that oh, this is truly divine. When you start really connecting with Guruji, you will realize that your journey has become very simple. You will become much calmer, stronger, and more divinely connected with Guruji. So with this, I would like to end day 3, and I'd like to say that please do continue reading this book at your own free time and will. And as I said that as Guruji used to say that you should positive socha karo and positive kiya karo. So always feel good about yourself and do self learning, do self love, and always do make sure that the more you start continue reading this book, you will realize that your life truly has been transformed into somebody whom Guruji truly wanted. With this, I would like to end today's journey with you. See you next time, and Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai. Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai. Shukrana Guruji.